Hey guys, welcome to the clubhouse. I'm Billy Jackson, and today's video is going to be continuing my top 10 Star Wars list with number 7, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Now, the only reason why I like this better than the prequels is because the CGI is better. But I really didn't like this movie all that much. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not the worst. It's not the prequels, but there were some very great moments in this movie that I absolutely loved. Now, let me tell you what I hated so much about this movie and why it's so low down on the list. The humor. They tried to do this, now that Guardians of the Galaxy is working and Deadpool's working, as far as these comedic type films that everybody's clamoring to. They think they need to do that with Star Wars. And man, I was so mad when Luke threw his lightsaber over his shoulder. The Force Awakens, when it came out, which I love, and the end of that movie, it set up this whole scene. They're after Luke Skywalker, throughout the whole movie. That's what it's about. Finding the map to Luke Skywalker. Then at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, end of the movie, they find Luke. Rey gives him the lightsaber and he's looking at it looking at her like, oh my God, somebody found me. Or I knew you would come. No one really knows. But then, so I could not wait to see what he was going to do. His old lightsaber, which was his father's lightsaber, and, an iconic MacGuffin is what it is, that's lasted through all these movies. Here it is. It's in his hand. He's got it. Rey gives it to him in this, moment they have. And then what does he do? I understand what they did with Luke, and at first I didn't like what they did with him, that he was bitter and mad at the Jedi and all this stuff, and kind of a grumpy old man. At first I didn't like it. I've seen this movie about 5 or 6 times since then, and now I really understand why they did that, with Luke, because Luke Skywalker is one of my favorite characters in cinema. When I was watching him when I was younger, he was me. That I was the kid. And he was the kid that went on this great adventure. And all this, and had to fight his father. And when I was growing up, me and my dad kind of were at odds. So I identified with Luke, and he identified with me. I felt like I just loved Luke Skywalker so much, still do. And when he threw that over his shoulder, I was just like, oh man, here we go. This is going to be stupid. First it started with Hux, and Poe Dameron, bantering back and forth. That was silly and stupid, and I didn't like that. And I didn't like all the stuff with Rose and Finn, going to that casino planet and all that. That kind of stuff felt like the prequels to me. That whole Canto Bight scene, that's the name of the casino planet. But, all of that felt like, and when they're riding on those beasts, that they had to release, because they were enslaving them. There was a whole other subplot that I did not need in this movie. And I did not like any of that with Benicio del Toro's character. Didn't like him. DJ, I liked him at first, but I didn't like the twist at the end they did with him. That stuff was crap. But the reason why I like this movie is I love all of the Rey and Kylo Ren stuff. Ben Solo. I love their interaction, their talking, their banter, and then when they team up, at first going into this movie for the first time, I thought they were going to fight. And they kind of set it up like they were going to fight. But no, they teamed up and fight those Praetorian guards, which I thought was amazing. This is the first Star Wars film, episodic Star Wars film, that didn't have a lightsaber battle. And I was kind of disappointed in that, but we got something new and different. And I'm cool with new and different. So that being said, that fight with them and the Praetorian Guards I thought was awesome. Some of the best fighting in the Star Wars movies. But I really enjoyed that part. I enjoyed when they killed Luke off at the end. You know, at first I was upset, but now after watching it multiple times, you know, listening to the director, you know, why he made certain choices, I'm behind him now. You know, I'm behind with the whole, you know, Luke using all of his force power to project himself across the galaxy to face Kylo Ren and to give the rebels enough time to escape. You know, I thought that was awesome. And that whole scene when all those AT-ATs are surrounding them and Kylo Ren's like, blast them, you know, and they're just like, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, what's he doing blocking every one of these things, you know. I thought that was amazing, that whole scene. And he walks out and goes, I was like, yeah, Luke Skywalker, baby, that's my man. I was so happy. But then when I learned that he was a Force ghost, the first time I saw it, when I learned that he was a Force ghost, and I thought him and Kylo Ren were going to have this epic lightsaber battle, but they didn't. They went the route they went with him being a Force ghost and giving the other guys, the other rebels, time to escape. I was really upset, and then he, you know, fades away on the rock, you know, but after rewatching, I didn't even realize, because I was so upset, I didn't even realize that this two suns he's, you know, falling down, that he's dying to. You know, he's watching the sunrise or sunset. But it reminded me, the second time I watched it, and I actually noticed it, it reminded me of the original Star Wars, you know, and Luke Skywalker's theme, you know, when he's looking out, the bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. That's Luke Skywalker's theme. That wasn't a good rendition. Sorry. But yeah, I get excited even talking about it, you know, because that scene in Star Wars, I friggin' love. And he's watching the two suns set. You know, it's just amazing cinematography. I mean, for 1977, it was shot in 75, but released in 1977. So we can actually say, and for 1975 standards, I mean, the movie is friggin' awesome for what they did. But anyway, you know, after rewatching this movie multiple times, I got over kind of the bad humor that I don't like. I don't like any of the unnatural humor. Now, I'm cool with humor in Star Wars because there's humor in Star Wars. You watch the original trilogy, there's plenty of humor, but it's natural. It's not forced. Excuse the pun, but it was very forced. The humor was very forced in The Last Jedi, and I hated every bit of it. Some of the natural humor in the movie I liked, but all the random jokes and, you know, doing all the stuff at Canto Bight, it was just ridiculous. It really upset me, and it still upsets me when I watch it. I'll still rewatch all the Star Wars movies, whether I like them or not. I just love Star Wars, but you know, every time I rewatch this, I kind of have to shut my brain off whenever they do the humor and kind of just focus on the story and what's going on. Now, I like the whole, you know, Snoke's ship, you know, trying to chase him down. You know, most of the movie takes place in space, which I thought was really cool. I liked that concept. I thought it was different. And, you know, Rian Johnson, who was the director of this movie, you know, he took a lot of chances, and I respect him for that. So that's why it's not like way lower on the list, or else it would be with all that dry, forced humor. It would have been number 10. I hated this movie the first time I saw it, but it gained some ground on me, and it might gain more ground the more time I watch it. But as of right now, it sits at number 7 on my top 10 list for those reasons. But anyway, guys, the video's running kind of long, so I'm going to stop it there. But what do you think of The Last Jedi? Have you even seen it? Where is it on your list? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And as always, make yourself happy every day. And the only way to do that is to remember, the only thing stopping you is you stopping. Bam!